Hello everyone, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of A Wolf's Word. Now today on A Wolf's Word, I'm going to be talking about a game that was just released by Telltale, a game in which you play poker against four iconic characters from different genres. I'm of course talking about Poker Night 2. Now I know what you're about to ask me. Wolfkeen, you play poker? Yeah, I'm a huge fan of poker. I've never played poker at casinos or anything like that, but I've played poker in online games, meta games, and stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of poker. So when I heard Poker Night 2 was coming out with a chance to own Poker Night at the inventory, the first one, I bought it. So I've been playing Poker Night 2 for a while now, and I decided it's time for me to review it. This will be the first PC game I ever review, so we'll see what happens. Now, what is the idea of Poker Night 2? It's pretty simple. Playing poker against four iconic characters. Now, I know what you're about to ask me. Who are the characters? I'll get into that right now. You see, you go through an intro scene which shows, characters from different genres and other stuff like that. So, let's talk about the characters that are in the poker game. The first character you run into in the intro sequence is Brock Samson from the Venture Bros. Now, I don't know much about Venture Bros because I've never watched that. I think it's a series or something. I never watched Venture Bros, so I don't know who Brock Samson is. Maybe someone in the comments can tell me who's Brock Samson. So they have him in the game. The second character you run into is Sam from Telltale's Sam and Max. Never played Sam and Max. Leave a comment below explaining the game idea of Sam and Max. And let me know who Sam is. The third character you run into is Claptrap from Borderlands 2. I already know who Claptrap is because I play a lot of Borderlands 2 with my mom. So, yeah, I'm actually excited that Claptrap was in the game. And the final character that you see in Poker Night 2 is Ash from the Army of Darkness. Now, I definitely know who Ash is. He's one of my favorite characters from a long time ago. So basically, you go up against these four guys in a game of no holds barred Texas Hold'em, or the new game that they put in there, Omaha. I'll explain the games later. Your dealer, shockingly enough, is GLaDOS. Yeah, you're going to be dealing with GLaDOS insulting you and other stuff like that, just like in the game Portal. So that's the characters that are in the game. Honestly, it's a pretty diverse amount of group of characters. The last Poker Night game we had Max, Strong Bad, The Heavy, and Tycho. So this time around we've got Brock, Claptrap, Ash, and damn it, I forgot someone, didn't I? Great. Let me try it again. Brock, Sam, Claptrap, and Ash. There we go. So they definitely do have a diverse group of characters in this Poker Night, which is a good thing to know because diversity is very important when it comes to a game. So this is definitely interesting to see these kind of characters, and their personalities and speech patterns are definitely interesting to listen to. So now let's get into the next thing, the games that you play. Well, this is called Poker Night, so all you really play is poker. But they added another game. The first game that they have is Texas Hold'em, which is your standard, you get 2 cards, and 3 are put out, you make bets and other stuff like that, basically trying to win the pot. The player who knocks out all the players wins the game. And the other game that I was trying to talk about, Omaha, it's basically poker, but with 4 cards. So you have 4 cards in your hand, and there's still going to be 5 cards put out on the table slowly. You still do the same thing, making bets, doing checks, calling bets, and stuff like that. So it's still the same rules, only you have 2 additional cards to work with, which puts a little bit more strategy when it comes to Omaha. So Omaha, I think, is a little bit more strategic, and I think it's a little easier, to be honest, because Omaha, you have a little bit more room to make mistakes and stuff like that. In Texas Hold'em, you really only got 2 cards, so you really have to be smart with these 2 cards. With 4, you have a bit more options. So I would say play Texas Hold'em first and then maybe check out Omaha. That's what I did. What they decided to do with this Poker Night game is that in the previous Poker Night game, certain characters will give out rare items, which can be used in the game Team Fortress 2. In this game, they decided in order for you to unlock the special items, you have to do bounty challenges. These bounty challenges don't change after every game, luckily. You just have to complete them. If you complete all the bounty challenges, you can go for the special item in the next game. So a bounty challenge is basically like, oh, win with a 3 of a kind, win with a straight or better, apply a full table set, like stuff like that. All you gotta do is stuff like that, and you will unlock different things. Basically, when you do all the bounty challenges, you unlock a chance to unlock a special item. Each character has a special item, and if you beat that character as well as win the tournament, you win the special item, which will unlock items for 2 games. One of the items that I got so far is Brock Samson's Orb. Basically, the orb unlocks Brock Samson's hair in Borderlands 2 for the gun Zerker, and also unlocks the Bowie knife that he has for Team Fortress 2. So there are multiple things you could definitely apply in this game, and it will continue on to Borderlands 2 or Team Fortress 2. So it adds on to the 2 games, which is kind of interesting to see that. There are 5 items total, so you have to beat 5. You have to win all 5 items in order for you to get all 5, well, 10 extras for the games. So yeah, the bounty challenges are definitely interesting, and I do like the concept of, being able to unlock your item. And the good thing is, which is to my knowledge, even if you lose the tournament, you don't lose the bounty opportunity. Instead, someone else will give an item. The items that I have seen when it comes to bounty items, I've seen the Necronomicon from Ash, Claptrap's Spike VGA Award, Brock Samson's Orb, and Sam's Banjo. Those are the 4 items I've seen so far. I have no clue what the 5th item is, but I think it's from GLaDOS. I'm not sure. What else can I talk about? Well, I've already talked about the 2 games that you can play. I talked about the bounty challenges. There's some customization in Poker Night 2, which is good. You could change the cards that you have. Like, you can have, normal playing cards. You can have Borderlands 2 playing cards. You can have Sam and Max playing cards. Basically, you can have playing cards from the different genres that are in the game. You can have playing cards from Borderlands, playing cards from Venture Bros, playing cards from Sam and Max, playing cards from Army of Darkness, or playing cards from Portal. So basically, there's options to be had with the customization. Sorry, I was just straightening myself. There we go. So there's plenty of options to be had when it comes to the customization. You can customize the cards, the chips, and the felt, which is the table. That's not bad. I just wish there was a bit more diversity when it came to the customization, like in the second Poker Night game. In the first Poker Night game, my fault. In the first Poker Night game, there was plenty of tables you can mess around with, and plenty of cards that you can mess around with. Though you unlock them by winning. In this one, you unlock tables, cards, and other stuff like that by just playing. You get these tokens, which can be used to buy the extra cards, chips, and felts. And you get the more, when you win, you get more chips, and depending on where you get busted out, you get a certain amount of chips. Honestly, the chips don't really play too much role besides customizing your table or buying drinks. Now, I know what you're about to say. Why would I want to buy drinks? Basically, you could spend your money to buy drinks for the characters on the table. Doing this will actually make them slip up a little bit more and show their cards by tells. Like, one of the tells is, you'll see someone get angry because of a hand they got, or get excited because of a hand they got. So that's pretty much letting you know, oh, they got a bad hand, or oh, they got a good hand. So it lets you know, maybe I should back out this hand, or maybe I should play this hand, or maybe I should pressure them to see if I can get more money, or I can cause them to fold out and take the pot. There's a lot of strategy to be involved in Poker Night 2, which is good. I actually like this. Now let's talk about the characters and gameplay. It's poker. What do you expect? There's nothing really substantial. If you're a poker enthusiast and like poker, then you're going to find yourself playing this game. And if you like these characters, you're going to find yourself playing this game. Basically, basic poker. It's just, trying to create, pairs and stuff like that. Basically, the idea... I really can't get into the gist of poker, but I will get into the AI. The AI is pretty competent in the Poker Night 2 game, and I'm going to be brutally honest, they will kick your ass if given the opportunity. Like, if you're low on chips, they will pressure you to the point where you're going to be forced to lose. So you really have to be careful with each of your moves. If you make a wrong move, then you're going to pay for it later. One of my worst moves was that I put in 30,000 chips on a good hand that I thought I had. I had a king, I had two kings in my hand, and I had a couple of aces on the table. I thought I had a good two pairs, so I went all in, and unfortunately, Claptrap had a freaking flush. That's what I'm trying to say, that you really have to be careful with your moves because they can really come back to get you later, especially if you go all in. So the AI is definitely tough. Like, they will not give you a second to rest if you let them. Like, if you let them give you... Like, if you make too many mistakes and you make too many tells, they will figure out your strategy. Yes, the AI is competent enough that they'll figure out your strategy, and they will be able to beat you if you're not careful enough. So you really got to be careful with the AI's difficulty. Unfortunately, unlike the other one, at least to my knowledge, you can't change the difficulty. I don't know why. I like the other one where you could change difficulty, where if you wanted it to be easy, you can make it easy, or if you want to make it, like, professionally difficult, you can make it professionally difficult. This one, it just seems like the difficulty is stuck on, like, a high difficulty, if you ask my honest opinion. Is that a bad thing? No, but the idea of changing difficulties was a good idea, because if you only felt like playing casually, then there you go. But then again, I can see people cheating and just putting the game on the lowest difficulty to unlock the special items, which is a bit cheap. Now, as for the characters, the one thing I like about Poker Night 2 is the conversations that the characters get into. You have no clue how funny is it hearing some of the conversations that Claptrap, Ash, Brock, GLaDOS, they all get into these full-blown conversations while playing, and it feels more lifelike that, you know, you're actually on the table playing with a couple of friends, and they're just talking about their life story. Like, one of them is Ash talking about he's going to pop the question to a girl he likes, and everybody's talking about it. Another one is, you know, Brock talking to Ash about raising kids, which, you know, Brock's experience with the Venture Bros. Basically talking about the Venture Bros and what he does with them. I like these conversations. It makes the table feel more real, and it makes me feel like I'm actually there playing poker with these guys. My only gripe is that some of these conversations appear a little bit too often. Like, they repeat themselves a little bit too often. Hopefully, Telltale will fix this by adding more conversations, like in a patch, because they did do that with Poker Night 1, to my knowledge. They added more conversations and stuff like that, and they made it so that they don't repeat themselves too often. I hope they do that with Poker Night 2, like add to the fact that the conversations are very interesting and stuff like that, and they get into more visceral conversations. I would love to get into that kind of stuff. All in all, what can I say about Poker Night 2? There's not a lot to say. It's poker. I mean, if you're a big fan of poker, then you're going to want to play this game. If you want to get into poker, this ain't too bad of a place to start. I mean, it's not going to punish you that badly. It's not like, oh, you need to have money to play. No, you could be like $500,000 below zero, and you could still keep playing Poker Night 2. I mean, that's how it was in Poker Night 1. You could be so low in money, but you could still keep playing, which is a good thing. It's not like other games where you go bankrupt and you have to go to a loan shark. And don't even get me started on those old games. I'm glad they didn't do that. So you just keep playing and playing and playing until you learn the game. I mean, this is a great place to start if you want to learn poker. So all in all, what do I think of Poker Night 2? It's definitely an interesting game, and I do like it. I'm really going to say that I can't really score this game because, one, it's the first PC game I've ever reviewed, so I'm not going to score it because of that. Number two, this is not really a full-blown game. This is like something you would get as a side content, but it's an interesting side content. So I'm not going to fully rate the game and treat it like a full-blown title. It's kind of like one of those games you could just play for about an hour to kill some time. Like Solitaire. That's what it feels like. Poker Night 2 feels like basic Solitaire on your computer. You could just dump hours just being like this. But the good thing about Poker Night 2 is that it's never boring. hearing the conversations, seeing the characters react, and some of the showdowns they get, like you see some of the characters react in such funny ways. Like one of my favorites is Claptrap falling off his chair. That's what I mean, like, it's never boring, so you'll always be entertained by the conversations and the different stuff like that, especially the back and forths between the characters. So, all in all, Poker Night 2, definitely a good game. If you're into poker, I would definitely recommend picking this up. If you want to learn about poker, get it. It's only $5. I think it's still $5, but it was only $5 when I pre-purchased it. And I think it still is. And if you want to start with another poker game besides Poker Night 2, you could buy the first Poker Night for $5 as well. So I recommend this game if you want to try, if you want to play poker. Like if you want to play a poker game and you want to learn poker, I would definitely say pick this game up. This isn't very hard. I mean, it's very accessible for new players, but it still has a degree of challenge for a couple of veterans to be tested. So all in all, Poker Night 2, I recommend it. It's only $5. Get it on Steam. You know what to do. So that's my take on Poker Night 2. I think it's an interesting game, and I think people should check it out. I'm going to probably do videos on it. I haven't quite decided, but I digress. So, until next time, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen. This has been A Wolf's Word, where you get the word straight from the wolf's mouth. Take care.